Hello everyone. Oh wait, hold on. I think I'm on the wrong thing. Let me. Wait. Hold on. Let me switch. Hold on. What am I using here? Let me. All right. Let me use this one here. All right. Everything seems good here. No problems. Uh, hold on. Got some background issue here. Not sure what's going on. You know, errors will happen. What could I do here? Let's see. Boop boop boop. No, no. What? Why isn't that showing? Hmm. Oh, there we go. I figured it out. Sometimes we got errors. Sometimes we got errors here, folks. Um. I'll pick up the phones in 1 second. How y'all doing? I hope you enjoyed that episode of Scam Economy with Paris Marks. Still dealing with some of the tech issues that plagued that recording, as you can see. But I think we should be good. Hopefully, the I don't lose you all because that would suck. Um. All right, let's go to the phones. Oh, but first, I already gave you the Patreon stuff. Patreon.com/MattBinder, YouTube.com/MattBinder, Twitch.tv/MattBinder. You know the drill. Let's take some calls. All right, here we go. Hey, what's your name? Where are you
Hello.
calling from?
This is Forrest from California.
Hey, Forrest, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What's up? What would you like to talk about?
I just wanted to add to your conversation from earlier. I'm a big gamer, so I'm kind of clued into a lot of gaming news and whatnot. And the thing with like even the like niche of like VR gaming is not that great of a niche for VR
Right.
because the business model is fundamentally flawed. It's so it takes a lot of extra resources to develop a game for VR or to like add VR compatibility to a game. So because of that, a lot of game developers don't want to spend all those extra resources to like add their game onto that platform. So because there aren't that many good games for VR, it's harder to really sell uh, the platform itself because like why would you buy a $600 piece of hardware if there aren't even any good games for it? But on the flip side, because there are no customers, the companies don't see it as a viable market to spend money on, so they don't want to develop games for it. So it's kind of a self-destructive feedback loop that like leaves it as just kind of a really niche market. So even the one area where VR does have a legitimate use case is very limited.
Right. Right. I mean, it's I feel like you're if you're a game developer, you want to create something that the maximum amount of people can enjoy, and I feel like VR where it is right now, if you make a game specifically for VR, you're sort of limiting the number of people who can who can access your game, who can play your game.
Yeah. And also the, they always make these platforms way too expensive. Like even a lot of the PS5 and most recent Xbox, uh, even those are very pricey for the average consumer, and that also limits how how many people are willing to buy into the overall platform.
Right. Right. So where do you think, as someone who considers yourself a gamer, where do you see this going? Do you think it's going to continue this way? Do you think eventually find its niche and grow, or do you think it'll
I
peter
I
out?
don't. My personal prediction is that it's going to keep going the same way it is because ultimately most capitalists are most like CEOs and decision makers in the capitalist class are coming from the pool of investors. And investors are the most frightened people on the planet. They don't want to bet money on something they don't think is a sure thing. So the only people who are going to be willing to invest that kind of money are the people who are self-deluded enough to like kind of be high on their own farts. And those people don't make good managers. So I don't foresee this expanding beyond what it is, because ultimately nobody's willing to invest the resources to make it more than it is.
Right, right. I mean, I guess it's weird because you think that if this really was something they believed strongly in, I mean, again, I'm sure it's hard to say this because game developers, software developers aren't the same as hardware developers. But if there was such this big push, you think there would be this partnership of software developers and hardware developers to get this out there, to get the hardware out there for the software. And I just, it's bizarre to me when you see moves like first of all where they're pricing it, like
Mhm.
Apple pricing their VR headset at $3,500, and then so I mean clearly Apple knows exactly what it is, so they're not confused. But then Meta with their push for the metaverse, and then like raising the price of their old VR headset. I mean, I know Paris Marks and I touched upon this on the episode, and it made sense. And I think Paris made the point that like you do that when um, subsidizing your costs no longer is worth it, which means the product's not going well. But it's still bizarre to me that you would still believe in this while simultaneously doing that very thing. It's very much. I mean, the episode is about the hype bubble VR metaverse scam, and I think it just clearly lays itself out right there. you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of CEOs don't really have a clear vision for where they're going with things. Like take Elon Musk for example. His vision of Twitter as the everything app is basically just a giant cop out of imagination because he's just trying to be everything, which is the same as being nothing. It's that people ultimately they want other people to solve their problems for them by just making a platform that allows people to just kind of do things, and then those people doing things is the product.
Right.
And
Right.
I it's the same with Mark Zuckerberg's Meta. Like he wanted to make the platform, but he didn't want to have to invest in what the platform actually does or produces. He just wanted other people to make software for it.
Right. And I mean, it worked. It worked great for Apple with the iPhone. I mean, that's exactly
Yeah.
how the iPhone became a success. But in the same way, it was I don't know, it was just a successful product from the get go. I mean, I know the iPhone before the App Store, that first edition iPhone before the 3G version, which I don't believe they did have an App Store if I recall. I know that
Mhm.
wasn't as successful, but I mean, clearly, Apple had some sort of plan to get to get the phone disseminated among people, and then keep them coming back for more when the apps in the App Store were fully sort of rolled out. I mean, say what you will about Apple or have your own feelings about the iPhone, but there's no doubt that the iPhone is a massively successful product, and I think it's because it genuinely is a utility and serves a purpose for a lot of people. Whereas VR as a whole idea, let me talk about a specific piece of hardware, but VR in general has yet to provide that for people. Yet they're just pushing it. So, and I'm not about Apple anymore, because actually, I sort of used Apple as the way to get into this story, because their VR headset is probably the biggest thing that's happened to VR, at least modern VR or whatever. But I actually think they are the least the least hype bubble of all them. Like, I think they actually and I think I said this in the episode, they sort of got screwed, because clearly they were working on this product for like a decade plus, and it just so happens that they're launching it now as this VR hype bubble sort of was about to pop. And I think at least they priced it at the right point that tells people that this isn't for you, at least yet, if ever.
Yeah. I think the one thing with what you said is the iPhone had a clear like underlying purpose. It was a phone. That's a clear, simple concept for people to get. It's a phone, but it also does some other things. Whereas VR, they haven't really formed a coherent thesis about what VR is for. And even when they do, it's like, we're going to make your life more miserable by subjecting you to work meetings over VR. And that's the core business proposition. It's not, there isn't a clear message or use. There isn't like one specific purpose that they are drilling down on. And then also it does some other things, like with the iPhone. Like I think that they've been so captured, like their imagination has been so captured by the financial bubble that they exist in, that they can only think of it as a financial tool to help other people like them. So instead of like trying to appeal to a mass market, like, oh, this is a gaming platform, but it also does some other things. You can access your social media or whatever. No, they can only think of it through their own context, where they're like, this is a business tool. You can do meetings here. You can organize.
Hold. How did that happen? Hey, are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
you.
Something happened?
Yeah, something popped up in Skype and it cut me off.
Oh,
Continue what you were saying. I'm sorry. I accidentally like shut the call. Go ahead.
that's okay. I was just saying that they're so caught up in their financial intellectual bubble that they can only think of it as a financial business class tool, because that's the limit of their imagination, because that's all that they do. That's all that they are in a lot of ways.
Right.
So that's why they're so focused on the like, this will be a cool way to do meetings and have business conferences, as opposed to
Something we all
actually
do and
inventing a
love.
real,
We all know and love and want
right?
to do in cool, new, interesting ways. We want to spend more time in business conferences and want apps that will help that happen.
Hmm. And you won't have to walk down the hall to do the business conference. You can do it from your desk, because we're also still going to make you come into work, even though we're doing all the business stuff virtually anyway. you know. Um, but yeah, I just think that it's a limit of imagination, and it's a lack of understanding that their product needs to serve a a clear a clear, simple core purpose that appeals to customers.
Right.
And because that's how the iPhone worked. That's why it became as big as it did.
What are you doing with this making sense? Uh,
Right.
I mean, it seems fairly simple and straightforward, yet they can't pull
Mhm.
it off, right? I mean, it's incredible to see that like company after company with really all these things. We could go well beyond VR, and it's just like solving problems that just the either don't exist or the vast majority of people just don't deal with. Like there's such
Yeah.
um specific like extremely targeted niche issues that like they're clearly again in a bubble where they don't realize that the vast majority of people are not doing this or not affected by it or not having this problem.
Yeah, it's money really breaks your brain with the way it changes your life and completely changes the context in which you exist.
And they think though they don't see it though. That's what makes it most amazing. They continue to go about their life thinking that like, oh, everyone is experiencing this thing that I, a very rich person with a very specific experience is also experiencing.
Well, it's because they only surround themselves with other people like them, or the people like one layer down who have to serve them.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that's
Well,
all I had.
yeah, this was a great call thing. A perfect first call follow up to that episode. Um, you know, I'm hesitant to get too far from crypto, but I also don't want to be pigeonholed in just talking about straight up crypto on that show, even though it started as a crypto related show, simply because, I think it's important to discuss things that are most affecting people right now. Just like we're talking about how these very rich people are out of touch. And just simply put, like, yeah, there's a bunch of crypto stories out there that I still want to cover for the show, but also like, I don't want to get too into the weeds and fall into that same thing where I'm like telling people about watch out for this crypto scam or crypto project, where that
Mhm.
just is irrelevant to everyone who listens because crypto has fallen so far down from the mainstream public's view.
Well, I do think a lot of this is. I get what you're saying. I think a lot of this is also interconnected in a way
Without a doubt.
because
Yes.
crypto in a lot of ways worked the same way that the VR industry is because it's the same concept of I'm going to solve a problem that doesn't exist for 99% of people. And it's really only a problem for me. And that problem being I want to trade on the stock market, but without all the regulation.
Right.
I mean,
No,
that was the use case.
yeah. I mean that is. I mean that's the main thing. If it's not partaking in illegal activity, like straight up
Mhm.
illegal activity, like drug
Yeah.
trades and like the a lot of the dark web was doing back before like the Silk Road was cracked down on, and then people got more cautious about that. Stunningly, crypto didn't solve the issue of authorities tracking your illegal contraband activities.
Mhm.
Stunning.
I mean, they thought it did for a while. Turned out it didn't.
Yeah.
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 That-
All right.
That's
Thanks
all
so
I
much for the
got.
call. Great call.
Yeah. Good to talk to you.
Bye. Take care. Have a great night.
You too.
Let's go to the next call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Yeah, this is Osama.
Oh, hey,
Sorry you met.
Osama. How you doing? Can I pull you up on the feed?
Yeah, sure. Um, I'm actually recovering from a nose surgery.
A what surgery?
Nose, you know, the
Oh, are you
deviated
okay? What happened? What
septum.
happened? You all right?
Yeah, it's just a minor surgery. It's for, you know how there's this bone in the center between your two nostrils and it just bends a bit, which
Oh,
blocks,
I know what you're
makes,
talking
yeah,
about.
that thing.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
Some other stuff as well, but basically that.
All right, well,
Yeah,
get better.
so,
Hope you a quick recovery. It seems like you're
yeah,
doing all right, but I hope you get back to 100%.
yeah. I'll try not to talk for a long time. But I've been trying to get you to read your DMs for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must be behind on. I let me see if I could just pull them up right now. Let's see.
I
Oh,
don't
you're
know
probably
if I
stuck in
even have
the
your right
you're probably stuck in
email or not,
the message requests
but
folder probably.
Uh,
Let's see. What's your
I tried
user?
it
What's
on
your Twitter
Discord.
name? On Discord. Oh, I haven't been.
Uh,
I need to get
yeah,
back on the Discord. I will eventually sit down. I will eventually find time to sit down
yeah,
and
it's probably on
finally.
your whatever it's called now, Twitter. I'll say Twitter. I don't care about X.
Yeah, I will
And it's by
finally
your
sit down
on
one
your
day.
email as well.
All right, I'll
Yeah,
have to. I don't see any of it right now, honestly. I'll have to find it. But go ahead. Tell me what you
I,
wanted.
I
What did you want to talk about?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll send you my name for my which I use everywhere on Skype, so you can look it up later. But yeah, it was about that topic is more serious, so I won't discuss it right now. I I've been we can arrange for that one, so I'm more prepared as well, and it's not like, oh, Matt's online. We can talk right now or something like that. But we can talk about your episode currently that happened and some other like not that serious stuff. Like you did an episode on VR. Or that's what you were talking about right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, just when you asked, I was
Yeah.
taking
So
a drink. Go ahead.
as you did an episode on VR, right?
Yes.
I think the basic premise, they've tried VR before. It's not like I don't think people remember, but didn't they try VR in the 80s or 90s as well? But of course, the technology wasn't good back then, so it didn't work as well. Uh, I think the problem with VR is people don't want something heavy on their head all the time. Like they can tolerate headphones, but even that is like for some people, even the headphones are annoying. Having something that's like really heavy on your face all the time is kind of like not a good proposition. Like it's not. Most people don't think it's worth it. Like they get tired. It's kind of like people who wear glasses, right? I did LASIK because I was tired of wearing my glasses. Now imagine wearing that VR headset all the time. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think the problem is that another problem they have is that smartphones and tablets and laptops, they just work. People don't mind having a screen in front of them most of the time. And the only use case that VR can have is as a novelty, like for enthusiasts. Like if someone, the only places where I can think VR can work is like if you have a really small apartment and you can have like a big TV or projector, you can use VR to watch stuff. So like uh, that's something that it's useful for, I guess. If you want to play games that are a bit more immersive, then people are developing technology that send haptic feedback to different parts of your body, and you can have those attachments, and that's where it's useful for. Other than that, for daily use, I think it's not that useful. Like at max, you could do like an hour or two of VR, or like if you're lying down, then maybe you can watch a movie, like pretend it's a movie theater or something. Watch for 3 hours, like Oppenheimer or something. And but they want to try to make it bigger than it is, which doesn't really work out. I think the best thing they can basically do is develop the technology so it becomes lighter on your head and maybe then and it becomes cheaper and then people will just impulse buy or something at best. It won't be your daily driver, but using it for your office work is like the stupidest thing you can tag VR to. That will like drive people away from it. They'll run away from something like that. They don't want, I don't think people want that. People hate Zoom calls. Imagine having Zoom calls in while wearing these 3D goggles and all
Yeah,
that other stuff.
people don't aren't saying like, oh, I wish these Zoom calls were more enjoyable, so we would spend
Yeah.
more time doing them. They're saying we
In
don't want to
fact, like,
do them. They're a waste of
yeah,
time.
they're like, that's another annoying thing about offices in general. People are like, why are we doing so many meetings? It's like we don't have real work to do, so we're just doing meetings all the time in real life, like in real space. And then you try to translate it into Zoom calls, and then people are like, okay, now I can ignore them. Like I can just mute myself and do something else. But then the bosses are like, why are we being ignored? Let's make it more immersive. But the problem isn't that people don't like these things, it's that it's not immersive enough. So they're trying to do the VR thing, which isn't the actual problem. The actual problem is people aren't, don't get bothered by meetings that are like useful, right? Like, oh, you need specific instructions or you need to understand something. Then people aren't bothered by those Zoom calls. People are bothered by the Zoom calls or the meetings that aren't useful at all. And VR doesn't do anything for that.
Right.
Uh, I think the biggest thing that can happen for the technology is like an AR mixed reality thing with like a lighter headset, so that maybe that might be something people start using a bit, like if it's the size of like normal glasses or something like that. Basically like Google Glass, but actually good technology
Yeah.
instead of whatever the
I
Google
mean,
Glass
I
was.
think people would love something like
Yeah.
that. Because I feel like I mean, compared to let me rephrase. They would love something like that compared to what we're seeing now. I still think there
Yeah,
was obviously some major issues with that, but I think, funny enough, as bad as it looked then, this stuff looks a lot worse.
yeah. No, I mean it'll never be like as big as they want it to be. But if they want to reach an audience that's not just tech enthusiasts, then that's a much better option than this one. It'll still be like a more niche item compared to like just a smartphone. I think the best, uh, I think the problem is that we were getting a lot of tech that was kind of new and exciting, and that doesn't usually happen. Like in human history, it, things don't go that fast. And now the problem is that we've reached the end point of like well, now we're just trying to make smartphones more better, small incremental changes, which is usually what happens in humanity in like, and they don't know, they can contend with the fact that you can't just keep getting newer and newer things, you just have to make the things that you have better. So they're stuck in this mindset of trying to find the next big thing when
That's what
every
it's all
time that's
about. Yeah.
happened it's been more incidental. Like it wasn't like you can plan it. It just it's the right place, the right time, the right culture, whatever. And that's not going to happen right now. Like AI isn't going to be the thing, crypto isn't going to be the thing, VR isn't going to be the thing. I don't think anything like that exists right now. Maybe like I guess battery technology if they could get graphene working, but even that's like going to be incremental and most people won't notice it. I don't think anything like any exciting new product like that's going to come. Like the iPhone that came in, was it 2005 or something?
2007 was the first iPhone.
Yeah, 2007. They want that moment, but for everything, like every year. You can't have that thing happen every other year.
Right.
That was like a rare case. Like before like smartphones, what was computers came out in like that can actually be desktops. Like the first desktops came out in the 70s or 80s, maybe. And even that was like too even 30 years is like not the norm. Usually it's like hundreds of years, like before the like I don't know. It's not innovation or whatever new tech doesn't just happen. We didn't have electricity for most of our lives, most of our
Right.
human lives, not yeah, like collective human lives. It's only been the last 300 years we've had like access to reliable electricity. We don't have to use candles at night to see stuff, and they're, they're in this mindset of creating something new.
Right. Right. I mean, that's
Uh,
that's the thing though. They need to constantly come out with something new so they could provide shareholders with
uh,
with value
yeah, that's
to
another
pump
another
up
thing.
stocks, and then because they're constantly trying to one up each other too. Go ahead. What were you
Yeah,
gonna say?
I was gonna say it's like it's also a problem of capitalism. Like it's not just you have to make profits for your shareholders. It's you have to make increasing profits for your shareholders. Like if you made 100 million last year, you're going to make 200, 300 million. You have to go up and up. If you reach a billion, it's 2 billion, 2 billion, 5 billion. You can just keep increasing your profit. That and nothing works like that.
Right. I mean, that's what they think they could do, though. That once they hit something, it's not like, oh, we found our little customer base and now we're set. No, it's always how can we double it, triple it, quadruple it. There's
Yeah,
never gonna
like
be. It's never enough.
Facebook has like 2 billion users, Instagram has almost 2 billion, WhatsApp has 2.1 or something billion, I don't know. I think WhatsApp has crossed Facebook. But the company Meta still wants new customers. Like, how are you gonna generate new customers? Like, the only way you can do that is if you solve poverty and give access to technology to people who don't have that yet. And you're not gonna do that, are you?
Right. I mean, so many people look at this whole. I mean, because so much of this doesn't generate revenue, like in general, though. Like it's amazing
Yeah.
what this scam economy that has been built atop the tech industry, where um, all these companies are evaluated at massive sums of money. Their stocks, if they are public, are
I
traded
mean,
at
stocks are imaginary. Like, what? Who called it? Like, it's just gambling for the rich. Stocks are just
right,
gambling for the rich.
right,
It's just based on their feelings.
yeah.
It produces probably less cars than uh, any other established car company, but their value is like among the highest in stocks for no reason.
Right. Right.
Uh, yeah, they'll just. I think they have too much money to waste as well. Like, how much money did Mark Zuckerberg sink into the metaverse?
Oh, it was a ridiculous. I don't have the amount off the top of my head, but it was a ridiculous
Yeah,
sum of money. Like, hold on, let me look it up. Actually, metaverse.
I think it was in the billions, right? 52 billion or something. I don't remember. I feel like Microsoft sort of does better with this stuff, and Apple to a degree. Like I've never heard like of course they went into the AI craze, but Microsoft doesn't like do that sort of stuff. Like you don't
Yeah,
hear
they,
them
they
in the
they
hype.
all they all are doing it though. Like at the last Apple event where they did come out with this VR thing. I and a number of other people did point out that like, oh wow, Apple amid all
Apple
this.
is more like a luxury brand anyways, right?
But wait, hold on. But amid all this AI hype, they didn't come out with anything AI. Like they didn't like announce their own AI project or anything like that. And people were like, "Oh, that's interesting. I guess they're not following the hype." And then lo and behold, a couple weeks later, it was reported that they are indeed working on their own version of Chat GPT. So I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, they'll work in the background.
all these companies are working on some stupid hype bullshit instead of just focusing
Yeah,
on building atop what has worked so well for them.
I think the problem is they don't want to miss out. Like that's I think a
Oh, of
difference
course,
between
that's part of it.
something like a Facebook and like Elon Musk or whatever, versus like a Microsoft or Apple, where Microsoft and Apple will work on everything, and Google, I guess, as well, but they won't advertise everything. Uh, They'll be do it in the background, versus Elon Musk just operates on hype and nothing else,
Yeah, he's
and social media in general. All social media operates on hype.
yeah.
Uh,
No, it's true. I
uh,
mean, it's constantly like acting as if some small bore feature is like some huge news item for the for the platform when it's just like people are just doing posts on your your website. It's
yeah.
not so hard. Like what are you doing? It's not that hard to just like
Whereas, like, for
give the
example,
people
I
what they
heard
want.
recently that Toyota didn't advertise it, but they're building like a battery that increases range to about 750 miles or something, and it charges like in half an hour. Like that's they they do actual stuff just happens in the background. Mostly it's from scientists, sometimes from these older established companies, and rarely through these tech companies. Like tech companies never actually build anything that's that useful. I
Right.
guess other than the iPhone, but even that was through what's the stuff that Steve Jobs used was all in the public domain. Like anyone could have done it. He
Right.
just put everything together.
Right. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see where they go ahead with this. Like what the next, because I feel like we've seen every hype imaginable, and no, well, that's not true because Paris on the episode did say that be prepared for the clean tech, the green tech hype bubble, which I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like perhaps we are getting a little taste of that with Tesla. Although I'm sure we'll see
I mean,
all
yeah.
the 1,000 copycat mini companies come out ready to you know put out stuff like that in that industry, I should say. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that there is one of like Saudi Arabia does that like with the Noom and that weird walled city thing that they were doing, and there's been like these companies that advertise like, oh, how we're cleaning the ocean using these machines, but the actual problem is that stuff shouldn't be dumped in the river for them to have to clean. So the actual solution is upstream, but they're advertising like how we're cleaning the seas with this stuff. And what was it? Mr. Beast had the Team Seas and the Team Trees stuff, which is just of course planting trees and cleaning the ocean, it's good, but it didn't even like doesn't even amount to like a few days or a week's worth of trash thrown into the ocean, but people feel good about, oh, they've done something or
right.
they're contributing to something. Where the actual solutions are more boring. It's like, okay, how can we affect policy? How do we get trash cans in these neighborhoods in these poor nations? How do we get people to put stuff in those trash cans instead of out there? Okay, recycling is a hoax. How do China stop taking our recycling stuff? What do we do with all these plastics?
Right.
That sort of stuff, which is very
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
uh,
they'll find a way to make it juicy for
yeah,
because that
one funny one. Do you know about the channel Adam something?
um
Adam something on YouTube. It's a
sounds
very weird
familiar.
name, but
Adam something you said?
yeah, he does videos on some of these. Like there was this one where they were advertising like a new sort of battery, which was these cinder blocks moving up and down. Like you use the electricity to move it up, and then you when you need energy, you can move it down, and that like spins the turbine or something like that. But we already have technology that uses water, which is the most efficient way to, because it's a liquid. You just use pump the water up into, and then it just comes down and gives back your electricity, which is already exists. But these tech companies want to come up with something that looks more appealing or sounds more catchy. Uh, the stuff like that.
Right.
He covers stuff like that basically, and urban planning. That's
I'm checking
the
it
that's
out.
actually
This
the
looks
biggest
interesting.
thing.
It looks like in some
Yeah,
interesting
yeah, it's very
videos.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. So the actual solution to climate problems, a lot of it is urban planning and not being like the US basically, like having everything so far apart that you like. The actual solution is they talk about electric cars, but the actual solution is reducing car usage altogether because you can't just replace all the cars with electric cars. That won't solve anything.
right.
You need the batteries need special equipment, special rare earth minerals. You have to mine that stuff, and there's a whole host of like that's those sorts of issues. And I'm sure you've seen those graphics where like, okay, if you have 20 people, a bus takes like this amount of space, cycles take this amount of space, and cars take this amount of space. And the bus easily fits in. It's just one bus, 20 people inside a bus. Cycles, they take a little bit more space, but it's there. The cars, you don't even see them because you have cars that are like, especially in the US, that can hold like 6 people or whatever, and they're massive. But one person's just sitting in that car alone. Nothing else is happening. So if for 20 people, you maybe some have two or three, some have only one, some might be filled out, but it takes a lot like more storage for those cars. Then you need parking for those cars. and of course, you need to reserve land for those cars where they can park, which is just basically the US, right? Like it's just you're in New York, so you're probably fine, but most of the US is just I see this little store, and then the parking lot is this massive thing. Every little store has to have this massive parking lot. There's like 3 times the size of the store itself.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I think I should let someone else speak.
Yeah, no,
Oh
no,
yeah,
this was
yeah,
fascinating. You know, I'm like I don't know why it's so hot in this room right now. So I feel like I'm like
yeah.
slow to the take. Like I'm listening and I'm hearing what you're
It's
saying. And as I'm about
yeah.
to say something, I feel my brain go in slow motion. So you might be seeing me drink my drink more so this episode. I don't. I guess I think what happened was I
Yeah,
forgot to turn the AC on, and cool down
maybe.
the room before I had to close the door so I don't wake up the kids.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So read your DMs. That is more like I don't know if
Oh,
you can
Space Karen says
have it in.
Binder is having a McConnell moment. Oh,
um,
I hope not, honestly, because that would not be. I would need to go to the hospital
yeah,
because that's probably what
yeah.
he should have
McConnell's
done.
actually
Yes,
seriously sick.
yes.
But yeah, read your DMs. If you can have like a short segment or maybe like half an hour on your show or on the leftist mafia, because it's not, I'm not an expert on the field of, I guess, the oppression of my own people, or I'm not a historian or anything, but I can discuss
No,
the
I
more
think
broad
I think
strokes and
sometimes
introduce
like
people to it.
I mean, obviously, it's always good to get an expert. It's really important to hear from people who are personally involved. Like
Yeah.
it's their home, it's their family, it's whatever it is that personally connects them to whatever
And
the particular situation or event is. I mean, I think
uh,
both are very important.
yeah, I think I just want the initial step of people learning about, I guess, the Baloch people, which are my people, but also maybe there's someone who's actually is an expert and can discuss like knows more stuff than me, who can then reach out and then they can have a discussion with someone else, not exactly you or someone on the leftist mafia, maybe someone else as well. And because people know a lot about the Kurd issue, right? And it didn't just come out of the blue. I guess mostly it came out because the US was so interested in Syria itself. But the problem is we're like I mean, people know about Pakistan and Bangladesh, but Bangladesh was like more of the population of the old Pakistan. We are just a small minority of the population of the current Pakistan. So without international support, we can't really do anything. They can just ignore us. We're like, I think 7% of the population or 10% of the population, something small like that. So they don't care. Uh, but yeah, we can discuss that later when I can actually form more coherent thoughts as well.
No,
And
this has
like,
been
it's
great, and
actually,
yeah, we should. Yeah,
yeah.
it seems like something that should be more of an episode than just a quick call.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, a quick thing.
Oh yeah,
Have you
please.
been
Yeah, that's.
watching the Adam Cole MJF storyline?
I've actually not been watching a lot of AEW or WWE. Actually, I was very into WWE had a great run into Money in the Bank, and then right after, and then I just got so busy I've fallen out of it a bit. I'm sure I'll get back on it in time for
So
SummerSlam to air.
it is very funny. Like they're good. They've put over a simple double clothesline as a story.
Oh, I do know about that.
May-
Right. Yes, I have seen that. Again, most of what I see is going to be like in
Yeah.
clips online. So if it's something that's a standout moment that people are like sharing, yeah, I've seen that.
MJF did a dive and then posted about it like it was like some historic event or something in black and white. But yeah, WWE is just, I feel like they're doing well, but they've been doing well for a while now, so it doesn't seem as remarkable.
Right.
The only
They're
annoying
on a
thing
bit of a
about the
roll. They're on a
AEW
bit of a
is,
roll right now. The
yeah, yeah,
storyline's been good. The matches have been
the
good.
Judgment Day, Bloodline, that storyline, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor,
Right. They're
juice
giving
off.
people they should have given a chance to a long time ago. They're finally giving them that
Yeah.
chance. And it's been a good show.
And LA Knight and Santos Escobar have been fun too. Mm, they still need to. I think they're still fumbling a bit with Asuka. I don't know why they always fumble with Asuka when she becomes champion. They can't handle Asuka as a champion somehow. But at least AEW is weird. They always have like one women's match and at most one promo from a women's. In every show, if you notice, it's a pattern. It's kind of annoying. They've never had like more than one match. I don't know why though. Like they have some really talented women, but yeah. Okay, now it's almost reaching the half hour mark.
No, it's been
Okay,
great.
thank you.
Always a pleasure
Yeah,
to talk to you, Osama. We're going to talk again soon about the topic that you've been reaching out to me about for weeks
yeah.
apparently. We're going to make it happen.
Okay,
Take care.
yeah, have a good one. Bye.
So I'm going to mention really quick cuz Osama just reminded me to give you guys a heads up. So next week I will be doing a stream. I will, tomorrow, Majority Report, Leftist Mafia. Then I will be doing a stream early next week, probably on Monday. And then I will be out on a family trip for a week. There won't be a whole week where you don't get me. See, because I'm going to do a Monday show next week. Then I am on vacation starting Wednesday for a family thing. So I'm going to miss Majority Report and Leftist Mafia next week. But then I will be back the week after in time for Majority Report and Leftist Mafia. So there won't be a full week where you don't get me. It's just that the end of next week I'll be out. So no Majority Report, Leftist Mafia for me. And then the beginning of the following week, no doomed / scam economy episode, because by the time I get back I won't be able to record one or have a guest to do the stream. So yeah, you'll see me every week. It's just that you'll get one less stream or half streams, because the 2 shows and then the 2 other shows I'm on, you'll get it. There'll be half Binder the next 2 weeks, but you'll still get me. So there you go. I'm hoping this week will rejuvenate me, reinvigorate me, because I gotta say, these past couple weeks with summer vacation, the kids being home, and then the kids going to camp, and I'm taking them to camp, and I've been very busy with work, as you guys have probably seen in the various pieces I've published. I could use this short break next week. So there we go. A lot of calls coming in now. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update there. Let's go to the phones. Hello. What's your name? Where are you coming from? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Matt. This is Susan calling from Nashville. Can you hear me okay?
Hey, Susan. I'm hearing you loud and clear. How are you? What do you want to talk about?
Awesome. So, I've called in before, just as
I know. You don't even got to say it anymore. I know exactly who you are.
I'm just going to remind you in the chat. I've been calling in about the Neopets Metaverse project, Neopets NFTs, where Neopets is the extremely old browser-based pet simulator game. But I have some big news today, Matt. Are you aware?
I heard about it actually, but I'll let you break it.
I heard, because I know I saw Molly White post about it, but yeah, the big news is that the Neopets Metaverse project is officially dead. It is done. They're not doing it anymore. This comes off the heels of, at the beginning of last month, the company that was above them that owns Neopets was Jumpstart, and that is dead. That's gone now. And then the company that owns them NetDragon cut ties with Neopets. Now Neopets is under a new independent company called World of Neopia or something like that. So a new company was made to be the head of that.
You and I
So
found the most fascinating though, the guy who spearheaded all this, getting rid of the NFT project and getting back to their roots, was the guy who was put in charge of
yes,
the Neopets NFT project.
yes, he was. Which does make a lot of people nervous, obviously. Some people, and this is probably Cope. I've seen nothing but Cope from Neopets community all the time. That's all they run on, obviously. But they point out that he was not the head of the Metaverse project since the beginning. And since they had a lot more controversies in the beginning of their project, it was kind of more like he was put in charge of it later on. Um, One
Right.
thing that made me a little nervous was that one thing that they're implementing is like an ambassador program, which is kind of what got them in trouble before, because when they had an ambassador with their metaverse projects, this guy, I don't know, he said something I don't know, homophobic or something, and
Ah,
it's
always a good,
not
always good.
not a good look for a site for children. Um, but now this is crazy. I don't know if you
Seems pretty easy, honestly, to just like, um, you know, be a company like Neopets where you're massively successful. You don't need to, you don't need to do anything. I don't know. All that much to rock the boat because people are just loving what you've been doing all along. It's bizarre that they would even make any sort of drastic changes like they were attempting.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they would say now this is their argument, of course, is that when the are you refer to the Metaverse project, or do you mean the ambassador thing I just said?
I'm talking about the whole everything.
The Metaverse, no, the Metaverse thing, they because immediately I don't. I'll just do a little refresh since it's been like a year and a half maybe since I first called you about this. When they first announced the NFT project, everyone was so mad. It was a huge, like, no one was into it. They were, and there was a lot of, at first, the mods deleting negative comments or deleting art entries that had NFTs, and then people were doing this really fun thing where they were like hiding the words "no NFTs" in their art, kind of so that it would be like there was like a good moment when they finally decided, all right, we're not censoring this anymore, because I think the people actually in charge of the actual site hated it too. They weren't into it. It was the people from NetDragon. Honestly, NetDragon is Hong Kong based. So they just let it happen. And then on like the news page of the site, there was like I don't know, a chia or something with that one GIF that people put over the top of things where someone's shaking its butt, and then it says no Neopets NFTs or something on it, and it's like, yep, everyone hates it. But then they decided to, as a little scramble effort, they were like, all right, the Neopets and the Neopets Metaverse projects are completely separate branches of the whole thing. That's what I was trying to say, that like they were deciding it was completely a separate deal. Now people, that's kind of suspect, because they would have things like different, some of the staff from the regular Neopets would have to do stuff for the metaverse stuff. So I don't know. There was a lot of
Did you ever send
that's
me?
kind of
Did you ever send me the recommendation of the guest to have on for this? Because I would love
see.
to do. What's
I
that?
talked to the guy. I talked to him, and he said he doesn't do podcasts. I was really hoping, because he okay. I have a better idea, but
Is there anyone else?
I have a better idea. Remind me by the end, because it's um. But man, what was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about how since it was separate, I don't think a lot of the users even cared that much about, like, as the days have gone on with that project, there were probably less than a dozen people even interested in it. And um and I don't know. I kind of wonder, you know, because oh man, this is really messed up. But in their little departing message to the or no, one of their messages in one of their I don't know, one of the things they released, maybe in Medium, they said they referred to the people who bought the NFTs as investors. So they said something like the Metaverse Project made $4 million through investors, and that's pretty funny to me. Um, I was, spying on the Neopets Metaverse Discord, which it will still be up apparently. They promised to keep it up. Uh, and there weren't that many people. There were a handful of people though who were unhappy, whining about it being a rug pull, being like, "Well, it's all this stuff's worthless now." Someone saying we should sue them, um, and but like, okay, the part of the game, at first it was just going to be the pictures, right? So it's not the implementation into a metaverse game was kind of an afterthought. And I mean, in every single thing they posted, there was, the legalese at the end that saves them from all that. So there's no way they would ever get sued. But then I think they like a few days later, after people were so mad, they posted an update saying something like they'll be compensated, and I assume that means that they'll, I don't know, get Neocash, which is like the stuff you would use for like cosmetics and stuff like that, for customization. And the funny thing about that is the people who invested probably don't even play the real site, so that would be as worthless to them. But I mean, that's why. There's like no overlap is the thing. No overlap between the metaverse people and the Neopets people. I joined in November. They had a metaverse on Twitter Spaces. And like just kind of like an update talk, because I was like, what are they even going to talk about? They were talking about their shift from nope, not Celsius. Whatever it was. Over to Polygon was their transition to that. So they were just kind of talking about that. What was the other one called? I don't remember.
Cardano? No.
Nope.
Wait, why did I know. I think I'm having it on like the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Whatever it was at its highest price when they minted the NFTs and only went down from there. It was terrible. Solana.
There you
Solana.
go.
It was Solana.
I knew it was one of those ones.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And it was weird because the only two people, because it was like you could raise your hand to talk, and there were a few hundred people in there. I was actually surprised at the number of people, but I'm sure everyone was just spies like me, because only two people asked a question, and like the whole thing only lasted like 40 minutes. And one of the questions was someone asking, why are you switching to a Polygon? My only experience with Polygon is that it's really slow. It was really slow when I got my Trump NFTs. And I was just like, that's so not what we do here. You know what I mean? We don't do that.
Did you really get Trump NFTs?
No, that's what that guy said.
Right.
And he said, that guy... No, but the guy. All right, I know, but I'm just setting the record straight.
Right, I hear you.
Oh, and the second person who called was, I think, someone they knew, because they see the guy came in, instead of asking a question, was just kind of defending their choice to do Polygon, and that was kind of weird. And so. Yeah, that was a mess. Anyway, but what I was wanting to say was that one person showed up who wasn't happy for that the Neopets Metaverse was shutting down, and it was Adam Powell, the original creator of Neopets, who showed up in the Discord, saying that the Fudders had won and complaining so now they're just going to make a regular Web 2 game because they're going to be like repurposing the assets.
Really? So the originator, I guess, or whatever, was for the crypto stuff, the NFT stuff?
Oh yes. Oh, this is all right.
I feel like you might
We're
have
going to
said
go
this to me
into a whole.
before, but a while ago.
Oh, no, this is way better. So, I'm going to go into a whole saga, and I promise it's going to have a point in the end. All right. I have notes written down. So about a month ago, maybe a little bit more than that, I think like they were kind of trying to like not Adam, but someone I think who was also interested was like, have you guys heard, like on the Reddit, on the Neopets Reddit, was like, have you guys heard of this game that the original creator of Neopets is trying to make? And it's a crypto game. It's like a not like it's on the like it advertises itself as being 100% all on chain. It is called Dragons, Dragginz, and I feel like that's a terrible name because it's way too close to the D's nuts joke, right? I mean, what everyone said in the Reddit comments. They just said Dragons, D's nuts. But anyway, that after that first thing, people were complaining about, I'm already off this because of the crypto stuff. So that made him mad, I think. He also kind of whined at people, like replied. So I'm pretty sure someone on their team must have been like, hey, look at this, trying to AstroTurf it. So that was something that had happened before. But then a troll showed up with Adam's username in the Discord, but this was soon after the thing happened with Discord where people could lose their names, so people weren't sure what he was doing at first, but he was immediately hostile, like immediately, like I don't know, whining like I didn't know you guys why don't you guys like crypto and stuff like that. And people were like, ha, like it's a troll. And then he posted a picture of himself flipping us off, the whole community. And it is very funny. And that's when people, I can't do that. But anyway, the nerds dug around. They did confirm that it was the guy. Also, his wife showed up at some point during this tirade, but it's not. I'm only beginning because he went through, I swear, for days. First on the Discord.
What do you mean his wife showed up? What happened there?
His wife showed up because she was a co-creator of Neopets.
Oh, okay.
And she was weird too. Oh yeah, but Adam was whining, saying, I was attacked from all sides. Oh yeah, he admitted to being drunk. I'm looking at my notes. I have my little Adam quotes here. I don't know I think he was kicked out of the Discord because why? But the Neopets fan site, not associated with the Discord, but just I don't know, it has the latest news. They posted about it. I actually sent you that link where they posted about it with the title, Adam, a former creator of Neopets goes off the rails or something like that, just kind of updating about it. And he showed up in the comments of that news post, which was highly inappropriate, not somewhere where you go off about your random stuff. He was saying, oh yeah, someone was asking, do you do AI stuff? And he's like, AI is awesome. I learned to code Rust using ChatGPT-4. Don't be a Luddite. So of course he would be into crypto, or sorry, the ChatGPT stuff, the AI. Also, that new game, I saw that he's going to use AI to make art for it, which is a terrible idea. They're
really into AI. They're really into they're really into all the hypes, right? All the hype bubbles. They got they want to do the crypto NFTs, Web3 garbage. Also, let's create a game with AI art as the basis. I mean, they're really gung ho about all the very worst things on that the tech industry is bringing us.
It reminds me of how people say that usually for conspiracy theorists, if you believe in one conspiracy theory, you believe in all of them. you kind of just get sucked into it, I guess. He said he was going to make Dragons the biggest game in the world just to spite you guys. And you know I'm going to do it, and I'm going to hate it. You're going to hate it every step of the way. And then he said, "Who said I want people to play it?" Almost right after that, so that's crazy. He said some terrible stuff like autistic people are childish, and I can't help it. So when people were saying he was being childish. Oh yeah, he went to his own place and said it's literally infested with social justice warriors and narcissists about us. And I thought, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Social justice warriors.
Yeah, that was big on the Tumblr blogs back in 2013, 2014.
Yep. Oh, and he said, I hope they live forever in poverty, which is a big window into the eyes of these people. That is a lot very money related. But I also wanted to talk.
They're still running with the have fun staying poor, or
another something poor. It's like I hope they live forever. But anyway, I wanted to. He says I'm going to buy Neopets just to destroy it.
And this is the original creator. Just making sure we're on the same page.
The original creator. He said, "I wish I never made it." I sent you the. He said a whole lot of stuff. It was dumb and crazy. And as I said, over several days, so it wasn't just one time when he was drunk. He also just kept it up. Yeah, very inappropriate. But I wanted to talk more about what he claimed his game was about, because. He said
the new one, right? The new one you're talking about.
The one he is making, yes. The Dragons. He says it is like a game where you raise dragons, but it's an MMO, but it's also like Minecraft. So, but he didn't show any kind of like gameplay, so I don't understand what he thinks he's doing. But like the whole selling point is the crypto. And I went to the Discord because I was doing a little research before I called in, and I mean, all the things people are talking about, there's like a tab for Mid-Journey, and there's a tab for people talking about different coins. Someone's talking about like, I don't know, Wojak coin or something like that. And I'm like, what?
Jeez.
The one I'm looking at right now, I should say, is the unofficial one. But when I clicked, I don't know if they have an official one since then. They probably do. But this is the one that I got to when I clicked on the Discord link on their actual website. So I don't think you could say it's unofficial and then have a link straight to your Discord. That seems dumb. But anyway, I think they do have an official one now. But he claimed, I mean, as they all do, that the game is free. And he says he's hold on, let me see. It has absolutely nothing in common with the crypto, so he knows that we've been burned by the NFTs and stuff. He says the game is a big FU to the gaming industry and capitalism in general. And I don't know what that means. So what I was going to say is you should try to get him on your show. That was my thing that I was going to say. You should get him on the show and to explain himself. If he's got days to whine at people for no reason, that sounds like he's got time.
What's his name again?
Adam Powell. So I did kind of want to talk about how I kind of get a little bit, because he said one time that this is so like in 1996 when I was telling everybody that the internet was the future. I won't go on about crypto, but this is a non-profit game, yeah. And so it kind of makes sense, It probably feels to him really similar to when he made Neopets. It released in 1999, and like there weren't games for kids back then on the like they had some like EverQuest was out, I guess other MMOs, Ultima Online, and obviously even before that, with the beginning of the internet, there were multi-user dungeons, but there weren't like kids games. You know what I mean? Because what are kids going to do on the internet?
Right.
And so he kind of like, it wasn't just the technology that it was
I
on the
remember. I
internet. It
remember. I was
was,
playing back in the AOL dial-up days. Does anyone remember that AOL had a built-in like game on like one of their, you know how they had like the keywords instead of the websites? They had a keyword site, Slingo. Does anyone remember Slingo? I remember that game all of a sudden, just right now, just
all right, you're
talking with
telling
you.
me, I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about. I do
Yeah,
remember, I
yeah,
have
I'm an old
memories of
man.
dial, but
I'm an old
I do have
man.
memories of dial-up, but that's like not quite my time. Um,
Right.
but yeah,
I
so
mean, as
the
someone
whole,
points out,
huh?
there were tons of like there were tons of kids games, but there were in fact a lot of kids games. But I know what you're saying. Like there wasn't anything that was
I what
they were sort of siloed. Like it was like nothing like a big world type experience like Neopets would
yeah,
go on to sort of create.
I've thought about this before, and I've thought about how Nintendo became huge because it was bringing the arcade experience into your home. But one part of that arcade experience that you didn't get was the tickets that you would get for playing a game well, that you would then spend on a piece of junk that you would throw away later. But I like one thing about Neopets is that you would play these arcade games and then win Neo points for them that you would then use on the actual site. So I think that's part of it. There's a whole creative community associated with it as well that was popular. I guess the art and stuff. But what my point is that it was the content that made people like it, not just that it was made with new technology. And his Dragon game doesn't sound that like new or compelling, I guess.
Right.
He says it should be in his mind it's the spiritual successor to Neopets, which I don't know if he noticed, but Neopets isn't doing that great. Um uh
The
oh, I guess
spiritual successor. I like that. I like the it's Neopets in spirit.
yeah, I saw on their website that it was they said it was created by the creator of Neopets, which it was the uh pet game, like pet simulator game created for college students, which was the myth that people would put out about the game. But I've seen in like his, a Reddit EMA where they said, I don't know where this came from. We just played it to be a game that we would play. But now that he's kind of reclaiming that, it makes me feel like that he wants it to appeal to a wider audience as well. Because when you see and hear Neopets, you're like, so it's for 10-year-olds.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I think that's kind of silly because I feel like I could pull up his previous, I don't know, I think his Reddit account got deleted, but I feel like I could pull up his previous comment saying that no, we're making it wasn't for college students, we're just making a game we would want to play. Um, but yeah, so that was my kind of thing. It wasn't just the technology, it's the actual thing, like the actual content, and his stuff didn't sound that new, but he claims it's going to be the biggest game in the world. So maybe I'll call in later and be like, he was right. He did buy Neopets and he did shut it down. So I look forward to that. I did want to have like a little where are they now kind of for Neopets. It's having its own little renaissance right now, or it's trying to.
I mean,
Um,
I saw that news, you didn't have to bring it to me. I mean,
yeah,
I was on top of that. I saw it. I even thought of our conversations, and I was like, wow, this is a complete about face. They're going away from NFTs after trying to go full Web3. It was amazing to see. And especially the
yeah.
fact that I know you gave the addendum with some more background, but still the guy in charge of the NFT thing is the one who's leading the way of their everything but NFT charge, I mean, I'm for it.
Yeah, just this past week, I guess to make people like really like I guess since they're in the news and stuff, they want to make the most of it. They released a whole bunch of stuff. They implemented the add-on Ruffle into the website, so fixing like 50 Flash games that no longer worked. They have lots of promises that I'm always skeptical about because they always make promises. I'm very jaded. As soon as I heard the news that they were on their own, I was like, all right, everyone get your Neopets affairs in order. It reminds me of when almost all the staff was fired and people were thinking that the website could go down overnight. So everyone was tearfully taking screenshots of their pets. And I just like, all right, take the screenshots, make sure it's if it were down tomorrow, I'd be like, that makes sense. But no, I actually was a little bit surprised at how much stuff they were doing. They were at San Diego Comic-Con with a pretty big presence there, like big-ish, like bigger than I thought they would. I need to send you something hilarious. Hold on. No, I can't figure this out. I'm on my phone. Anyway, I was gonna say that as an ambassador, I was telling you I was worried about it, but I saw on X, John Legend announced that he was an ambassador for Neopets, and that was just so funny to me. Like I showed the video to my husband without telling him what it was going to be, and we laughed a whole lot because it was so random.
John Legend?
And yeah.
Why?
I know! I need to know the story behind that. I was trying to imagine how this is possible. I was like, does his wife play Neopets? Is his wife like
right, I can see that.
hardcore into Neopets? Like that's what I'm saying. It sounds to because I mean in his Zweet, or what are we calling them? His Zeet.
I'm not even going there. Let's just continue to call it tweets.
I think it's funny or to pretend that it makes any sense.
It's the we haven't got to it yet. You're gonna make me go off now. It is I really need to do a full episode on this, but it is perhaps the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I know.
I mean, it is like can you just imagine? Can you just imagine like you've created? All right, you haven't created this, but you've purchased something that has tremendous name value. It is a globally recognized brand. It is so well known at this point that words describing actions and features on your website have become part of normal everyday usage in people's lexicon around the world. Multiple languages, multiple countries. Everyone talks about your platform, your product, as if it's just a dictionary word, because it's that engraved into people's heads. And you just go, fuck it. I'm getting rid of everything, and I'm slapping on a generic one letter that will never, ever be able to replace what that is, because it's not a brandable name whatsoever. It's so generic. It is the most generic you could possibly be. It's like unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
I don't think if you changing the name at all is an unbelievable decision, but he possibly picked the worst way you could do it. Anything would be better than just a single letter. And my husband and I were talking about how he's just those kids who made their username on RuneScape lowercase x, capital X, lowercase x underscore, Dark Wolf underscore lowercase x, uppercase X, lowercase x. That's just the fascination with the letter X goes right back to middle school. But anyway,
I gotta say my email is matt@xmattx.com.
Yeah.
I will say though, the reason for that though is that it's a straight edge hardcore thing. That's where I got that from.
Okay.
So it's not just because the X's are cool, but it's because all the hardcore bands, especially who were straight edge in like the 80s and 90s, were putting the name of their band between the two.
Yeah. That's cute. Anyway, what? Oh man, what
He ruined that for me. He ruined that for me.
He ruined. I don't know. I'm speechless that we're all ranting about it. Oh man! Also, the latest thing. Oh, it's not funny to me anymore. After I saw what you had spoken about, I don't know if that it's real, right? What he did about the person with child abuse material or something. Can you discuss that a little?
Yeah. Okay. So
that made this whole situation. I was like, all right, the whole downfall of the site is no longer funny. That was making me legit mad. I was like, who? All right, continue. Hold on, explain.
So there's this online right-wing influencer, this guy Dom Lucre or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's this black conservative fellow. I don't really know his whole deal. He's got 500,000 followers on Twitter. He's constantly sharing conspiracy theories. All he does pretty much all day is post new threads calling someone new a pedophile with like a complete sort of like made up background on them or whatever. And he's constantly sharing misinformation and satire websites. But whatever, that's his deal, and that sort of stuff is you could lie online. That's nothing new, whatever. But apparently, he was suspended earlier today on Twitter, and conservatives across the gamut, from Carrie Lake to Cat Turd, were rallying for him to get unsuspended. And one of the Krasensteins posted a long tweet about how they don't know what happened to him, but that's one of the problems, that Twitter needs to be more transparent about why users get suspended so they could properly address it. And I agree with that. People should know exactly what they got suspended for. So Elon Musk jumps into the Krasenstein's mentions and literally says, yeah, the reason for suspension should be shown. And then he continues, I'm told that this account was suspended for posting child exploitation pictures associated with the criminal conviction of an Australian man in the Philippines. And from what I've seen in terms of people responding to what Musk said, this case of this Australian man in the Philippines, it is a well-known case. This guy is one of the most abhorrent examples of this perhaps ever. There were, again, I'm not familiar with this case too well, but from what I was reading in order to write about this piece and from what people were saying, dude is spending 129 plus years in prison in the Philippines. There was discussion at the time about the Philippines possibly bringing back their death penalty specifically for this guy based on how heinous his crimes were. He apparently filmed videos of him sexually abusing children as young as 1.5 years old. Horrible stuff. But apparently, this guy, this right-wing influencer on Twitter, got his hands on this material and was posting screenshots from it. And his reasoning, let's be clear. His reasoning is to expose it. But I also want to be clear. This exactly shows why these clout-chasing right-wing motherfuckers absolutely have no idea what they're doing when it comes to child trafficking and saving the children like they claim to care so much about. Because I posted about this stuff, what Elon Musk said this guy was suspended for. And his followers, his fans, are flying in my mentions, defending him, saying, no, you're misrepresenting the situation. He was posting the exploiter's content to expose him. There is never, ever an excuse to post child exploitation on the internet. And second of all, who the fuck are you exposing? The guy is gonna be in prison for the next 129 years. Like, you're just finding an excuse to post this shit. Well, on top of that, Elon followed up that information with saying only people on our CSE team, that's child sexual exploitation team, have seen those pictures, which I can tell you is false because those tweets, those posts from that right-wing influencer, they were up for days before Twitter took them down, X took them down, or whatever you want to fucking call the platform, took them down. And on top of that, I searched like just to see like what his followers were saying to him, like just for the text post to see what their reactions were. And there were so many text reactions to what this guy posted, literally saying like, this is gross. What the fuck? Like, why are you posting this? People describing, oh, that's a 1.5-year-old little girl or some shit like that. And I'm like sitting there like, oh my God, I'm just from how they're describing this shit in text form. And I'm like, my God. And then Elon Musk follows it up with, for now, we will delete those posts and reinstate the account. So this guy is back on Twitter now.
It's horrible. I was like, who does this guy think he is? The Elon Musk being like, the person who's posting those kind of images should be, having a sit down with the FBI. You know what I mean? This is like, right? Is that not illegal to even just own that kind of thing?
They're gonna really, if this gets any bigger, they're gonna really hone in on the fact that the context matters. He was criticizing the guy and talking about how disgusting and abhorrent he was while sharing his exploitation material of children. It is like it is a well-known. This also blows apart the whole idea of Musk and all these guys really focusing in on the importance of citizen journalism and that's the future. Listen, I respect the fact that citizen journalists, anyone could be a citizen journalist, and in that case, I usually think of like people going out and covering local protests or whatever. But there are certain issues and topics where we're being educated on how to cover these very sensitive topics is super important. And I'm being really generous here by giving this guy this, to be quite honest, knowing the type of crazy ass shit this guy usually posts. But I'm going to continue to be generous for the sake excuse me, for the sake of this argument and say this blows apart that whole idea out of the water. Because anyone who covers this stuff and has any sort of education, or even just editors, or someone who knows what they're doing in the field would say, listen, we need to cover this very carefully. We need to make sure we're not posting any of the material, for one. That would be something you wouldn't even have to say, because, of course, and you would need to approach the language very carefully. You see conservatives throwing out like, oh, look, kiddie porn. Oh, no. You don't write about that way. You cannot. I wrote about it. I don't know if any other news outlets covered this, but I wrote about it earlier today for the company I work for, my day job, and I didn't even have to be said. Never child pornography, kiddie porn. No. It's child sexual exploitation material, child sexual abuse material. Because remember, this is abuse and rape. This is not like, oh, pornography. No, this is not that. It's
abuse and honestly torture.
It is.
And I
listen, I was unfamiliar with this case, but from what the actual case that this right winger was talking about, but from the stuff I've seen people just talk about who are aware with this case, this video possibly or photos or whatever, I'm pretty sure based on people were saying they were stills from a video. This video apparently shows possibly, from my understanding of what I was reading, the death of a child from this too. It's apparently one of the most heinous examples of this. Like I said earlier, that the Philippines wanted to bring back their death penalty specifically for this guy. So the fact that you would post anything from this guy that he created for clout or to so-called expose him while he's already spending 129 years in prison is suspect at best.
The you know who doesn't care
Also,
about
it's
the
illegal.
so-called
It doesn't. I
context?
want to really hone in here. It's illegal. It doesn't matter what your intent is or what context it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It is against the law.
Get Twitter in trouble. Sorry, X.
choking
I feel
now.
like it could get X in trouble.
I'm getting upset about this. It's against the law. It doesn't matter
know,
what
I've been
context it is.
too.
You cannot post this stuff. You cannot post this stuff.
You
You
can't
cannot.
own
You
it.
cannot
can't
share
have
it.
on your
You can't
device.
have it. Right. You need to immediately if you somehow
say-
come across it, you need to like immediately report it.
The people who don't care about the so-called context is, victims of and survivors of child exploitation material. You know what I mean? It's not like you see, if I were a victim of this kind of thing, and I see someone posting a picture of myself or of someone else, I would, that would, oh man, I don't know if I can handle that. That's such a violation.
I don't even get their obsession with it on the simple level of it being like not something that you would want to like. There are very legitimate anti-child trafficking organizations out there that do this work day in and day out, and you don't see them out there talking about it in the way the right wing does, because it is not that to them. It is like, it must be so draining on them mentally, emotionally, and physically even, that they don't talk about it like that in that way. That they have to deal with it in very certain compartmentalized ways where like the right just goes out and they're like obsessed with like saying these, treating it like it's a fucking game. It's like no, the reason like normal people don't talk about it in the way you guys do is because like to normal people, the way to actually combat it is to like actually listen to what these serious organizations do and deal and notice how they deal with it and support them so they could continue the work they do, and not so you can become some sort of weird sicko who talks about this shit all the time to the point where you get so desensitized that you think that Pope is somehow blowing the lid on it. It's like honestly so mind-blowing of where we are right now in this, like with that movie that's out that they're obsessed with. It is mind-blowing to see how they deal with this stuff as if it's like, some sort of like everyday sort of thing that they are dealing with, like when they're complaining to the restaurant waitress about their order. It's just like that to them, just a normal part of their life like that. It's stunning to me.
It's horrifying. It's kind of like they're not. I don't know. It's like they don't see the survivors of these things as fellow human beings, but like a child an object who is damaged in some way.
And they always jump to defend their own
like
about it. They always jump for the people who see child exploitation and child abuse everywhere. They think Tom Hanks and every single Hollywood liberal secretly abusing children because they posted a photo of them wearing one glove instead of two gloves or whatever, and that means they and their pizza order means that they're ordering children in a pizza place's basement. They see that everywhere, but when one of their own is called out, it's you're misrepresenting this. They're trying to expose it by posting actual media from the exploiters themselves. They are the most disingenuous, hypocritical, disgusting scumbags, honestly. I don't know how else to describe them.
Like this person, you said he had 500,000 followers. He probably distributed that material to more people than it had ever been distributed to before.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why I'm saying that X should get in trouble for that, or not in trouble for, because they did, get on it. But I mean, I don't know. I guess you can't really say, so your terms and conditions. I don't know. I don't understand the law, but oh man, what's Elon Musk thinking? That's why I'm saying.
He saw all the right wingers getting together to call for him to come back. He saw this is one of his guys too. I'm pretty sure this is one of the guys who got paid by Musk in that first batch of the creator payments. This is one of his boys. He's gonna bring him back. He's gonna bring one of these right wing influencers back. He's not gonna lose out on one of them. I mean, it was stunning. It was stunning to see. It was super stunning. It's stunning that he apparently. Are they gonna report this to the FBI so they could look into it? I mean, I don't know what the deal is here. I don't know what the line is where you can be charged with a crime here. It seems like distributing this material on a public platform is a line to be crossed, but maybe the context will matter in terms of exactly what he could or would be charged with. But to see Musk like just openly admit that this is what the guy was suspended for, and then just be like, we're bringing him back, was like,
he just said so casually, "Oh yeah, this is what he did." Like that
I was
when you're
stunned.
so against pedophilia that you instead distribute it. What's going on there? What? I'm so glad that I was able to rant about this with you, because I've been mad all day about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, because I wasn't gonna talk about it, because I didn't, no one's. This is just a call-in episode, and there's like an eyelash somewhere on my face, and I cannot get it off. But I could feel it though. Yeah, there's I wasn't going to talk about it. No one, it was just a call-in episode, and no one's bringing it up. And I'm glad you did, because it would really piss me off to see it. Honestly, I mean, just the nonchalant way that he put it. It was very stunning to see. Also, very stunning to see him just openly say that about it. Like very bizarre behavior to like both admit that the guy did this horrible thing, but then also say we're bringing him back in the same sentence. Like the very next sentence, I guess.
It's unreal. I don't know. Like, I guess being a billionaire really does change you. You're no longer normal, because I don't see how anyone could write that and feel normal.
Yeah. Always a pleasure to talk with you, Susan. I gotta do that Neopets episode. I feel like now, especially, it like completes the story. I need to do that Neopets episode.
I asked the guy that because I was like, before I was going to give you the name, I was like, wait, does he even like talk to people? And he really is. He actually, I think he's the guy who got Adam so mad, because it was actually funny. Adam kept saying that he hated that guy, like that guy in particular. And I love that one person got under his skin so much that he went on a whole days-long rant. But and he was calling him out on some lore that I wasn't familiar with. But and this guy would be the one who knew everything. But when he said, "No, I don't do that," I asked, "Well, who else could I talk to then, or could you talk to?" And he said, he was like, "Oh, ask the Discord." And I was like, well, if I'm just gonna ask random Discord people, I mean, I that's just randos. So yeah, I'm not sure. But I can point you to the Neopets Discord, and also the Discord if you wanted to ask Adam what the deal is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he'll come on this show. But I would love to have.
No, okay, you say that. Well, I didn't think he would come on to the news post comment section. So he seems a little unhinged.
Yeah, well, maybe he'll come on the show then. This show loves Unhinged.
Oh yeah, I hope he doesn't watch this. No, thanks so much. Thanks for taking my call. I was really excited to tell you. I knew that you probably already knew, because you follow Molly White. Everyone's so happy about the Neopets metaverse dying, and now I'm not. Now I'm only embarrassed to play it because it's a child's game. Not that I'm not really. I don't care about anything, but it felt wrong to be a part of something that had that metaverse side going to it. It was like a bad representation of the whole thing. But now that's done, and we got John Legend on our side.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, talk to you later, Matt.
Have
Or
a
maybe
great
not.
night,
Maybe
Susan.
this might be my last one. No, I'll call up with something different. Maybe.
Nah, you better, because I enjoy these calls. Have a great night, Susan.
Yep, you too. Bye.
Oh boy. Uh, we went late. Let's see. All right. All right. Let's take let's see. I'll take one, maybe two more calls. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, Matt?
Hey, good. How are you? What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Brian. I'm calling from Wallingford, Connecticut.
Hey, Brian. Can I pull your? I see you're using video. Could I pull your feed up on the screen?
Absolutely. It might add to the
Perfect.
ambiance to this
There we
next
go.
story.
So, hey, Brian, what do you want to talk about?
So I went to a bar recently, about 2 weeks ago. I was wearing an anti-flag shirt. I got it right here.
Boy.
How
Boy.
Is this how I turn it around?
Uh,
Yeah, right here. That's my shirt.
Yeah. Are we going to talk about what I think we're going to talk about?
Yeah, did you get my message earlier?
No, I didn't. Where'd you send me a message?
Right through here, through Skype.
Oh, let me check it. I've been waiting for someone to ask me about this too. It's very, very depressing, upsetting, but it is what it is, and I'm happy to talk about it. Oh, that's
So,
not what you want to talk about. Have you not heard about the news with Anti-Flag?
About them breaking up? Yeah, that was
That-
about like the day or 2 days after the incident that happened with me. So that was even more of a heartbreak.
Have you heard about why they broke up?
Recently, yeah, it was an essay sort of thing.
Podcast woman went public with how the singer and founder of the band apparently it seems like brutally raped her.
Yeah, that was the gist of what I got, unfortunately, which fucking sucks because I grew up on that.
I mean, listen. It sucks for me in different ways. I mean, yeah.
I
it was
tried
my
calling
first-
last week because I saw you had the fucking NHL
It
logo.
was my
and
yeah.
that flag shirt.
I have a lot of shirts. They are. They were very influential for me. I will say he was always my least favorite member of the band. I'm not just joking or going. I wouldn't joke about this. Literally, I always thought their bassist Chris #2. I thought he had the better songs, the ones that were made by him. I thought he had the better voice. I always enjoyed his songs much more. But yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks because they were incredibly influential to my politics growing up. They were clearly very They were like the starter band for a lot of people getting into political punk rock. And
Yeah, you get into anti, and then you get into leftover crack, and go fucking figure.
yeah, and you got further down the pipeline all the way into all sorts of the older stuff too, with like Crass and Conflict and things like that. But I mean, it's really depressing because they and I saw some right-wing blogs, right-wing websites run with this because Anti-Flag is known for being very leftist, obviously. He really first of all, let's not pretend that the most important thing here isn't the apparently multiple women. Only one has gone public with her story, but there's been chatter or even beyond that, even multiple women he's been creepy with even. They're the obvious front and center of this story. And, my thoughts and my heart goes out to them and what they experienced. It absolutely is horrible because even they shared that same sort of experience, but obviously from a different point of view as they're the victims here, where like this was a band, they idolized this guy and he took advantage of them. And it's you know, it's very disappointing. We haven't heard it yet from the other members of the band. From they had a record label too, so a lot of bands who are on that record label have.
I think when the band breaks up, though, that's enough to say like, okay, that we heard enough from them.
Well, no, the band immediately broke up. All the social media profiles were immediately deleted. They posted a message on their Patreon saying they were refunding all patrons, and that's it. Anti-Flag is done. We haven't heard from the other three members of the band yet. I'm assuming they're going to put out a statement. There has been statements from people who've worked with them, like their tour people, their roadies, their merch people, who say they had no idea. And from the story that broke this whole thing open, at least that story, it seems like it all, you know, adds up here. The woman said that he specifically preyed on her after the show when no one else was around, and you know, he told her to wait around, and they, you know, this was over multiple days too. Like he came back to the town and hung out with her, told her to come to this movie premiere or something. So it seems very plausible that nobody knew, or at least maybe they heard he was being creepy, but no one knew the extent of him actually acting upon it. But we haven't heard from them yet. I also got to assume that this was like their full-time thing. This is a band that's been around for decades, and they were constantly touring. They had a record label.
Yeah, almost 30 years at this point, if not longer.
So I'm assuming there's probably some legalities here. They probably have lawyers that they need to go by in order to make sure that whatever contracts or whatever before they put out a statement.
The right way,
Yes. This is going to be very fucking messy. This is going to be very messy, obviously. We hear they broke up and we think that's it. This is going to be fucking messy as hell for everyone involved here. I'm not saying that's feel bad. I'm just saying that's why we haven't heard from them yet. You know, but there will be a point where if we don't hear from them, people should be like, what the fuck's going on? And then it does become on them to say something. But I think it's been like less than a week, I think. Just a couple days. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Think just about maybe a week and a half tops.
I'm pretty sure on top of all this, they were in Europe about to play a show the next day. So they weren't even in the States when this news broke, and they immediately broke up the band. So this is going to be something that continues. I mean, I've seen them countless times live. I have a number of shirts. I specifically got the tattoo without any sort of, it doesn't say the name of the band because
it's a great logo.
The artwork really speaks. And I also found out recently that thankfully he's not responsible for the logo. So it's still, in my opinion, still safe. When people have asked me over the years, what does that logo mean? I've never said it's an anti-flag logo. I've always told them, it means, anti-war, anti-gun violence. Because that's what it means to me.
It doesn't mean anti the American flag, right? Right on.
Yeah. It's going to be, listen, I got the shirts. I know some people were like posting pictures of them burning the shirts or whatever. I mean, the band broke up. Wearing the shirt is not going to like promote them. You're not going to fund the guy. You've already given them the money. Yeah. I get the sentiment, but it also doesn't mean anything.
I saw them up at the House of Blues in Boston a few years ago with Real Big Fish.
I might have also been to that tour because I don't even remember what shows I see anymore. There was a point in my life where I was going to shows multiple times a week, every week, and it was I can't even tell you what bands I've seen anymore. I lost track. But I've seen Anti-Flag numerous times. I've seen Real Big Fish at least more than once. So I'm going to assume that maybe I saw them together at some point too.
Oh, it was a blast. But hey, it is what it is at this point.
Right. Also, a good lesson. I saw someone say this. Never meet Tom Boson in the chat says never meet your heroes or have heroes in general. I will say that has been my sort of, maybe when I was a young teenager looking for an inspiration or something, I was like, oh, this band is my favorite. That guy in the band is my favorite. But like, I would say for at least the past 20 years, there's been no like single individual that I've been like, oh, that's my idol, my like my hero. No, don't put all your faith.
Absolutely say that for sure. And if this comes back to bite me in the ass, oh well. But you know what? I got his T-shirt. I almost died of a heart attack getting it because it was my fucking like childhood dream. I went to SmackDown years ago and fucking caught John Cena's T-shirt when he threw it into the audience.
Yeah, who knows?
That was some good karma too.
I'm not saying anything about
palpitations like this, dude. And I mean, sure, I got the Daniel Bryan shirt on right now, but oh my god, that John Cena shirt.
Listen, I will say this. I'm not saying this specifically about John Cena, but there were multiple eras in wrestling where these guys would go town to town and be in a new hotel room with a new woman in that town every night. So it could have been consensual every time, but hearing some of these stories about these guys, I'm not saying anyone specific, obviously. I'm saying it'd be very smart to not have an idol be a pro wrestler, at least if they started sometime between the year, I don't know, 2016 or 2017 maybe. I feel like maybe the newer generation of guys have a better head on their shoulders. It seems like they come from a more progressive background, but then you can't even say that anymore because look what happened with fucking Anti-Flag, for God's sakes.
Exactly.
Someone in the chat's going woo, and there's been plenty stories about a certain Nature Boy, but yeah. Well, let's move on to your bar story, which you called in about.
So I went to a bar a couple weeks ago. I had not gone to that bar in about a year. I want to play darts. It's the only good bar in town with a dartboard. So let's just go there. It's been over a year. They haven't gotten our dollars for a while. Our boycott's over. So we go there. I'm wearing that Anti-Flag shirt. And it's got the swastika getting smashed on it. And we're just finishing up.
Seems like that's like if there's an Anti-Flag shirt to get you in trouble, there's like the upside down flag one, the burning flag one, all sorts of various. But this one literally just has a swastika being smashed. You would think that's the one that would be most agreeable by people you run into, on the street.
Yeah, and especially in a blue state. But apparently, that was not the right idea. And every time I put that fucking shirt on, I think, okay, maybe there's a chance somebody confronts me about it because it says smash the alt-right. Well, lo and behold, we're throwing darts, and we're just about to finish up our last game. Maybe 10 minutes left. Not that we're timing our games or anything, but we got a couple more marks to make in cricket, and then we're done. I had a date and had to be out of the door in about 10-15 minutes to make it on time. This big motherfucker. I'm 6 foot tall. This guy has 3 to 5 inches on me easily, and 100 pounds worth of fucking dipshit muscle on him. Walks up to me and he goes, have you heard of whatever band? Turns out it wasn't Screwdriver, but basically a band like Screwdriver. So I was like, no, I haven't. He goes, why are you wearing that shirt? I look at him, because it was clean. He goes, well, it says smash the alt-right. Do you know who's alt-right? Yeah, motherfucker, a lot of people. Well, I am. And then he starts showing me his fucking Klux Klan tattoos. He's got a fucking SS insignia tattooed on him, an Iron Cross. And then he starts talking about all the swastikas tattooed on his chest. And he goes, and on my back, it's a portrait of a lynched. I'll let you fill in the rest of that word, because he threw it like it was nothing. I'm very much sure if me and my friend weren't 6 foot tall white guys, we probably wouldn't have made it out of that bar without at least fighting our way out. It was fucking ridiculous, bro.
That's
all because I wore a t-shirt that said, hey, Nazis aren't cool. And then he starts talking about how fucking he spent 5 years in prison because the ATF pulled him over for fucking gun charges. The dude they do is chilling at the bar had spent 14 years in prison. They're both active Ku Klux Klan members. It was ridiculous. And then I go into work after that, not that same day. A couple days later, I talked to one of my supervisors about it, and he goes, "Oh, I didn't know the Ku Klux Klan even existed." What world do we live in that racism just doesn't exist anymore?
Right. Well, I mean, that's not the worst response you could get from someone in terms of, I mean,
accurate.
It's definitely inaccurate, but like, I mean, you gave me that story about the open neo-Nazi, and so I guess after running into that guy, someone saying like, "Oh, I didn't even know this was still happening," even seems like a more innocent sort of response. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess it kind of leads me
it's
down
not
the road
surprising to me though.
Trump, like, oh, racism doesn't exist. He's not doing anything racist. He hasn't said the N-word on camera.
Right. It's not surprising to me though that you ran into the person who, I mean, neither of them are surprising, but especially the guy who was like, "Oh, I didn't know this was still happening," because I would reckon that a good portion of this country would act that way if you confronted them about what was happening. Whether it's true ignorance or feigning ignorance, that could certainly be up for debate depending on the individual, but there would certainly be that would certainly be the response from quite a few people, I'm sure, actually. I really do think.
I don't think the dude that I talked to about it was feigning ignorance. I think he was just unfortunately ignorant about the situation. But it kind of opened up a window to me of how much people in this country are completely inoculated to the severity of how fucked up certain situations in the country are.
Right.
It was like, oh, you're just a normal dude. Like, I say normal. He's got like over a half a dozen kids. And, like, you're worried about your kids. You're worried about your family and everything. You don't have time to pay attention to the news like I do. Like, fuck. The dude just sits around and takes care of his kids all day.
Right.
I go to protests and shit. I actually actively fight for a better tomorrow for his kids. But how do you not know that the Ku Klux Klan still exists? It blew my mind.
Yeah, well, it's sadly the case for a lot of people. Again, whether it's feigning or for real, but that's the response you'll get. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, though, Brian. This was for bringing up Anti-Flag, so I could, because I've been waiting to have this discussion on stream since it broke. It just hasn't come up yet. And then B, for sharing your story, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who. Someone in the Twitch chat, X Leftward X, says, "Gotta go back to that bar with a couple more friends and clean house."
If I knew I wouldn't get arrested.
Right, yeah, don't get it. Yeah, it's not.
I already made the promise to myself I'm not spending another dollar there because they apparently cater to neo-Nazis in the Ku Klux Klan. So that's it. Done. Cut off.
Right.
Never going there again.
Right. Thanks for the call,
not
though,
worth
Brian.
my safety. It's not worth giving them my dollar.
Oh, right. Thanks for the call, Brian. Great talking with you. Feel free to call in any time. This was great.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do again.
Take care.
All right.
Right back at you. All right, one more call. Let's do this. One more call.
Hello? Matt.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Is this Hansi?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
How you doing? What did you talk about, my friend?
Well, good. Thanks for taking my call, man. I know it's like a long night. I was like, dude, when I'm reminded, like, trying to get through. This reminds me of like trying to get through to the Stern Show. I'm like banging my head. I'm like, am I gonna get on time? Is he gonna leave? And then
Damn,
that
holding
one chick
me,
was, like, on for a half
holding
hour.
me
You know
in
what I
such
mean?
high regard. Wow, I'm not. I don't know if I'm that level, but I appreciate. I appreciate you saying that. You treat this like trying to get into the Stern Show. Wow.
Well, dude, listen. There's only very few shows I call into, right? I don't. I would honestly. I would, on the day that you're hosting, I would try to call into the Majority Report, because I think maybe they would probably like take a liking to me. Maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know, but like, I don't know. Like, you're one of the few people that I like to like talk to about like some of the political discourse that's going on. You know what I
Oh, I
mean? Because
appreciate
like, I
that.
don't know. Well, what's it called? Did you already cover? I don't know if you heard about this. Did you already cover DeSantis having a private wrestling show at NXT?
Oh, I forgot to do the other thing. I'm glad you brought someone brought up. I saw this. Why do you want to maybe I should pull the clip. Hold on.
It's Steph DeLander. Steph DeLander.
Let me see if I can grab this clip really fast. This is
This is Steph DeLander, who used to wrestle as Persia Parati on NXT. She's
I saw her. I saw her recently at a local indie show. She's Matt Cardano's manager now.
Because Chelsea Green went back to WWE, right? So
right. So
it's
yes.
She's doing a good job with them, by the way. You know what I mean? But yeah, she was the reason why the clip went viral, I think. I don't know. Did you find it?
Yeah. Let me. You won't be able to hear it on your end, I don't think. But let me play it really quick if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna put you on mute while the clip plays. Okay.
All
right. This is Steph DeLander, pro wrestler, formerly with the WWE on their NXT brand, explaining the WWE's connection to Ron DeSantis. Let's play this clip right. Where is it? Give me a second. Right, I just downloaded it. Where did it go? Here we go. All right.
Everyone has a gun.
Here we go.
Everyone has a gun. It's not like it's like who doesn't. Like when I'm like on these dating apps, my questions are you allergic to cats? If they're allergic to cats, I don't reply. Do you have a gun? If they have a gun, I don't want to know about it. Florida just passed a law that you can openly carry a gun without having a permit.
Normal.
Very normal way to live.
They're passing a lot of weird laws in Florida right now.
And I was watching the news the other day and I was like, I can't believe I live here. Like, I can't believe this is reality.
There's a very cool governor there. That's a joke.
I've wrestled in front of him.
Really?
I wrestled for DeSantis, yeah.
How was that? Did you meet him? Or?
I did meet him, yeah. He came to the PC ones.
I want to know more.
We got called in on a Saturday that Ron DeSantis wanted to have a wrestling show for his kids. So him and his family came in and they sat front row and we all beat each other up on a Saturday morning because he wanted to take his kids to see the wrestling.
And he thinks the drag shows are dangerous.
Yes, drag shows, no good.
Wrestling?
Yeah. Good. It is funny if he becomes president, then I've technically wrestled in front of the president.
Well, there we go.
There you go.
And he might become president.
He might. Everyone has a gun. It's not like...
I don't even know what to... I mean, he literally calls up a company and says he wants them to perform specifically for his family, and they oblige. Because I guess, it's Vince McMahon, obviously, so who knows if he would have done it just for the hell of it, because he likes DeSantis. But, I mean, a fucking private wrestling show for the governor of Florida because he called him up and asked for it. Stunning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, yeah. What's it called? Yeah, no, dude. Listen, what's it called? See, whenever anyone brings up this again, and I'm not one of these people that are saying, forget about what the Saudis are doing. Like, that's very important. I'm actually glad people are like more socially conscious about like the propaganda, right? But the thing is like the reason why I'm not shocked is because I always feel like the wrestling world in general Like even with that Rick Steiner stuff, right? The thing that people are overlooking is that he's on a Florida school board, and he's also now anti-trans. So to me, it's like with what Florida's doing, and I really do think someone needs to do a deep dive eventually. Again, I mean, maybe people don't want to cover it, whatever, but I do think somebody needs to do a deep dive of like the right wing, far right politics that are seeping into the wrestling world. Cause I don't know if you follow that girl Charlie Caruso who used to work for WWE. Her name is Charlie.
Someone sent me a super chat. Hold on, let me while you're bringing it up, let me pull it up, because this person sent me. All right, let me read this super chat while you're here. Jay from New Jersey with a $20 super chat. Hey Binder, it's been a minute. Today I found out that sadly Charlie Arnold, known as Charlie Caruso to WWE fans, has left ESPN to join Outkick and was ranting about Leah Thomas. She was nice the couple of times I met her. Sigh. Jay, did you just meet her as a fan or did you work with the company? Please let me know. I'm interested. But yeah, I saw her going around. Well, first of all, she was with WWE. And then she gets a job with ESPN as well because they have that partnership. I guess they allow it. But she gets booted out of WWE. They kick her out. Apparently, there was talent who did not like working with her, which should tell you something there too. But then she leaves ESPN for that conservative sports website, Outkick. And she goes from being like a WWE, like, love everyone brand ambassador, because the WWE loves those, like, corporate, like, everyone's welcome type things. But she goes from that to being an outright, like, right-wing, full-on right-wing activist. It's an incredible turn. But clearly that's who she always was and was just pretending otherwise for the job, you know?
Well, yeah, what's it called? Yeah, because, the thing is, even before I knew about this, there were so many people that were, like, going to bat for her, like, oh, she should be given all these opportunities. I'm like, she's not even that great. I mean, listen, she's a beautiful woman. But, like, she's not even that great of a fucking personality. And I kind of get, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm like, I don't judge talent sometimes because on the sense that maybe some of these people would be better off in other promotions because WWE, like, kind of limits and kind of, like, they don't let you go to your full capability on the microphone. So I never want to fully just judge someone off of what WWE does with them because you don't know how good they can actually be because it's proven otherwise where people who leave WWE become like really more compelling on the microphone somewhere else, right? So I didn't, but the thing is, it's like, yeah, I'm just noticing a weird twist. Like even like Kevin Kelly recently, like because again I go on Reddit, right? So I don't know, I never investigate any of these people's lives. Whatever becomes public. But even like Kevin Kelly lately got in shit from the the crowd like online because he was promoting the Sound of Freedom, a movie on his Facebook page.
Who shared that?
Kevin Kelly, the guy from the
commentator from right.
And now New Japan mostly, you know what I mean? So no, I'm just saying like between all of that and then some of the trajectory of where like other guys who have been in NXT because now people even in the Reddit chats we're all now fucking theorizing. Is that why a lot of these people in NXT who have just kind of mysteriously left have kind of started doing their own little patriot movement, or like that guy Drake Wirtz who like left and then he started doing like he was running for office in like Orange County or something like that. You know what I mean? So do you think like eventually like I always wonder why no one in the like I know people in the wrestling media they might have to limit their coverage, right? But I always wonder why like nobody. Like, out of all the people that Trump was, like, had alignment with, everyone got analyzed. Like, I never understood why Vince McMahon or Linda McMahon never got that much scrutiny for being aligned with Trump. Like, people wouldn't be even... Like, if you analyze Vince McMahon shit alone, then, like, you know what I mean? Then you can really kind of go, look who Trump associates with. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think one issue is that, people are able to look over look past certain things, unfortunately, for things they enjoy, which I understand. At the same in the same breath, it's one of those things where if you were to take out everything that that you are into based on who's running it behind the scenes, then it probably wouldn't have very much left for you to enjoy.
Yeah, no.
But
Sorry, go ahead.
At the same time, I do think wrestling fans, while they are increasingly getting more and more progressive on issues, a good portion of the crowd is also detached from politics altogether, and that's not good. It's unfortunate because I think wrestling fans should be more political. The hardcore like smarks and everything, it's clear that they are political. But the casual wrestling fan, which makes up the vast majority of wrestling fans, I think it's pretty clear that they're just politically divorced from. They're just divorced from politics, I should say.
Well, I get what you're saying, but I wouldn't say. The thing is, the irony is that even if they think that they're divorced from politics, there's politics has always seeped in to everything that we have consumed because.
I'm not. I completely agree with you. The thing is, I don't think they realize that or care.
I'm not being judgmental. I understand, man. I also give in to watching stuff from problematic people. Part of me is kind of why I have hatred for myself because I wish I was strong enough.
Well, don't hate yourself, please.
Well, but sometimes it's like I do mentally want to break free, but then I'm mentally I feel like I also give in to the entertainment, you know what I mean? And I think because it's consumed us for so long and we don't realize it. And the thing is we can't break free from it, but it just feels more and more between just based off the Oppenheimer discourse, it just feels like a lot of the fucking entertainment now is designed for at least the social media establishment to basically amp up more culture wars or getting into more or you're seeing more ugly side of people who go, well, you know what? I actually support Oppenheimer's move to make it because I think we should have bombed Japan. It's dude, why am I reading people wanting to bomb?
I was seeing really weird. I was seeing the combination of we should have bombing Japan, bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki was good, and then on the flip side, I was also seeing poor Japan was a victim of U.S. imperialism, and it's whoa, neither of these takes are accurate. What the fuck's going on here? Why is everyone being so weird? Why can't people? And my opinion is, and I think this is quite frankly the opinion of most people who are read on the situation of World War II, is that bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki bad. But U.S.'s overall role and the Allies' overall role in World War II, good. Obviously, if the Axis won, that would have been very bad. So even if U.S. did things, we also put Japanese Americans in internment camps. That was also bad. But that doesn't mean that the Nazis should have won World War II. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. See, because sometimes, especially, I understand, if you're politically, you're politically in tune, and because I started consuming history stuff, during the social media era a lot, right? So now it's you've gotten a version of well, we're the alt media and we're telling you a different version, or what you weren't taught, whatever. And then you go, okay, well, at least I have more angles now. And because certain figures now are basically become compromised, the Jimmy Dores of the world and all that kind of shit. It's to me, if I'm a politically dumb guy and sometimes I'm not in tune, I don't know the complete history or memorize it, I get really, really fucking confused, and I'm afraid that I might repeat problematic talking points without even realizing it. You know what I mean? So sometimes as a dumb as a dumber down guy from the politics world, what they call I feel sometimes I'm being lured into the wrong thing, if that makes sense.
Right. I see what you're saying. I think you shouldn't, I think most people, I know it's hard for for like people who obviously are very online because that's what they do. Um, I think most people don't partake in this, honestly. I think most people, if you talk to them about what's going on, they would have no fucking clue what you're talking about in terms of like culture war stuff.
Yeah, no, I get it. And listen, I don't want to take too much of your time, but before I go, can I just say, like, I'm gonna try to follow Olay's content on her show. I'm actually saddened that she's not part of leftist media, and I understand. And again, like,
Leftist mafia, you mean?
Yeah, like leftist mafia, whatever. I adore her takes. I think she's she's pretty fucking cool. And I just want to say that, like, and this is my thing. You guys started this, right? Has there always been like an influx of like quote unquote random racist people that are chiming in, or do you think that became an uptick during this whole TYT debacle? Because as someone that dealt with fucking Stern, in my personal opinion, and knowing how fucked up these institutional bosses are, they once you like call them out or something like that. My personal opinion, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not fucking saying it's true or not, but I feel like since like they're like doubling down and they're like positioning themselves as like the ultimate progressive while they're always taking shots at the left for no fucking reason, and because Anna's put out warnings like, oh, I never forget, and now that Olay was one of the main ones, I feel like her being targeted. And I'm not saying that for sure that's them, but because again, when I first started listening to your show, there weren't many.
I don't think I listen. There were probably lots of trolls from all sorts of different audiences, right wingers, who knows who else. But I would say what happened to with Olay was a much larger thing.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just like when I see cool people who like are brave enough to call out bullshit, whatever, and then they're getting affected mentally. Like I have a kinship with that because I've been in that position on like a smaller scale between like being on air figure, and there's constant people who feel like, because like I mean there'll be some cool people, but there's people that constantly feel like because they listen to you that they own your time and they own like every argument, that they need to have an argument with you 100% and it gets to you. So to advice to like a lot of you guys that are kind of new in the game of like getting your reputations up, you're gonna have that, and I just don't want you guys to feel like you're like feel completely drained mentally, because I've done that. I didn't have a good support system, and I felt my life was put in fucking chaos. So I just don't want to see anyone on the leftist mafia or like anyone who's a good person succumb to that, because Anna and Cenk, like again, there's no beating around it. Like even if they're not doing that, they're certainly just doubling down and certainly trying to piss off more people. Like it's kind of like at a scary rate right now of how fucked up they're going. I know you're supposed to focus on it, but like because they're dominating it and their whole personality is like, oh, a lot of leftist streamers are not going to tell you this. It's like that has nothing to do with the story. You're bringing it in, and then you're complaining about doing culture wars. You know what I mean? So like that's why it kind of like like fucks with me, because I don't want to see good people getting fucked with. So I'll leave you with that, man. But thanks for having me on, man. You're a good dude, and enjoy your vacation when you get a chance, man. But I like talking to you, man. So peace out. All right.
I appreciate it. Call in anytime, my friend. Take care. Have a great night. I see your concern, but listen, Olay's decision to leave, it's just that she didn't want to do live streams because of the the nature of how they roll out, how they happen, and it's unfortunate. I would have loved for her to stay on the show, but she's doing what's best for her, and I fully support it. And I think you'll see us do things with her, not as like, oh, Leftist Mafia is back, but I mean like, individually as hosts do, like, the way she does it on her channel, which you should all check out at youtube.com/Illuminati. I don't know how to say it. I always mess it up. Illuminati. I'll take one more call. Last call, but we got to make it quick. My headphones are about to die. Hey, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Robbie, and I'm calling from British Columbia.
Hey, how you doing? What would you like to talk about?
Good. I'm good. I'm really excited. Um, I wanted to talk. I wanted to call in because I I was watching live a couple weeks ago when you had the interview with Benny, and I was just like so like blown away and like moved in a really positive way from it. Um, I thought that it um, really highlighted a lot of stuff that like really bothers me. Um, and as a trans male, and yeah, I just really and I appreciated that Benny kind of spoke to like how nobody wins, you know. But the thing in particular I wanted to mention is that I often see in these conversations in these spaces that progressives, of course, are always trying to remind people like trans women are women, trans men are men, and then there's always this argument of like this gender neutral language. And I know it doesn't matter who used it, but certain people have been in the media have been being upset about using that gender inclusive language, and like, but as a trans male, like I'm the person that language is for. And I don't think I've ever heard another like trans man on a show or on something like this who is like, I am the person that this language is designed for, and like it's helpful to me. And I appreciate it. And when they talk like talking about like birthing persons and all, and people with uterus instead of women, like that's me. you
Right.
know and yeah, and and an example of that, and it's only in a medical context, like when I have an appointment with my nurse practitioner, and like there you have to get your blood work done, and it was like, okay, well, how's your iron? Because people with uteruses, you have a period, we have to keep an eye on your iron, like. And that's it. Like that's it. That's all it is. That's all this inclusive language is. It's just so that my nurse practitioner and my various like mental health professionals don't misgender me to my face, and like it doesn't affect anybody else. And I don't think I've heard anybody say that. And I just wanted to give an example of like, because everyone's like, birthday person. Like, this is when this language is used. And I appreciate it because it makes me feel better about having to get healthcare. And I don't think it's this big deal that so many people make it out to be. So.
First of all, I really appreciate you calling in and sharing, because I actually you're right. We don't hear. I wonder, like I'm trying to think of all like the the streamers I can think of, and you're right. Like a lot of, I mean, I'm thinking of who I've spoken with too, and I'm speaking to a lot of trans women, but I don't think I've spoken to very many, if any, on the show, at least trans men, and I wonder. You think it's just like I can't think of any trans men lefty streamers, like are there any that you could recommend? I'd love to have them on.
Like, yeah, actually I can think. Oh God, is he a streamer though?
Even if they're not a streamer, if they want to talk at all, I'd love to have them on.
I watch a YouTuber called Jamie Rains, and he goes by Jamie Dodger on YouTube. And he actually just wrote a book that's called The T in LGBT, and it's meant for like young people. He's an actual doctor, and or has a doctorate in gender studies, and but he's also like really easygoing, and he's from England, so he has that whole perspective as well, of because there's a lot going on in England with the NHS being defunded a lot, and there's like one there's like one doctor who performs like lower surgeries for, you know, gender confirmation and like the whole system. Like it's kind of a nightmare. So he probably has a lot to speak on that. But yeah, there's it's funny because like being being a trans man, like this is even something that I notice in support group. I go to like a local support group, and like we really try and in general, at least the trans men that I know in our community really try and make space for our trans femme sisters. And it's this whole thing where we're like, well, like, you know, we're still kind of learning how to navigate being a man and what that means in a public space, but we don't want to we just don't want to mansplain. We don't want to be called out for mansplaining. So we got to make sure that our trans sisters, you know, get the spot and speaking for the whole community. But yeah, it was just something that I've noticed. I'm like, I don't know if I've heard from someone who that language is used for, and I am one of those someones, and it's just such like a nothing burger, you know, like it's really nothing. Like,
right. I can't imagine caring about it in the way that some people have come out and decided to make this like their mountain to, you know, their hill to die on. It's just so bizarre to me. Like it just like I mean, like you just mentioned now, like it's been said by pretty much everyone trying to explain it to people who they feel like should know better. It's like this is not something that's like changing across the board even for you to get so upset about. This is very specific instances. Usually when we're talking like we can talk about how like, yeah, of course, in like a clinical setting, like a medical setting, with individuals, they use this language, sure. But on a broader sense, the only time I think we hear this language like broadly is from politicians who are thinking about the entirety of their constituency. So that's when they use that inclusive language too. And they're usually only, let's not act either like it's like all politicians, far from it. It's like the 9 people in the squad and that's it. Like it's like,
it's just to make sure nobody's being left out. And like, you know, this is anecdotal, but I've heard before, like I'm Canadian. So I heard, that, we've had gay marriage legalized here for a long time, but then, you know, 50% of marriages ended divorce because the language wasn't like inclusive of that. Now that's just something I've kind of heard from other people's experience. I don't know, you know, any personally, but like, yeah, like inclusive language helps. It closes loopholes. It makes sure no one's forgotten about, you know, like there's one example of it right there, but yeah,
it's just like a nice thing, like it to do. Like I don't even see why you get so upset about it. It just
like
it boggles
like people
my
who
mind.
menstruate, like that's it, you know, or like people who, you know, like I don't exactly want to go to the gynecologist, but like if I had to go because that's the doctor who's, you know, knows how to help me, then I'm gonna go there. And like, and if you know, they're sensitive enough to use that language and help me feel better about, you know, about my reproductive health, then great, everybody wins, right?
Right. Right. No, I completely. I mean, you know this. You don't have to. You're not telling me anything new. But yeah, I mean, it's really great though to hear from you and get your perspective because it's important. And I'm glad you enjoyed that interview with Benny because I really enjoyed it myself. I thought Benny was absolutely fantastic. And you know, on top of you know her discussion about the white supremacist origins of a lot of this stuff being something that's fascinating to me and also exactly what I usually talk about on my show with like white supremacy and far right wing. It was like, you know, it was really great to hear from her on that. And I thought we had an extremely fruitful discussion that came out of a situation that I think a lot of people were running with is more of like a drama, an online YouTube drama type thing. And I think I'm glad we had a good discussion out of that because something came from it. Yeah.
It was good to learn about like the how she was talking about like the way that people are socialized, and it was almost like my sort of takeaway is like the patriarchy hurts everybody because like like almost like trans women have to overcome certain things that they've been taught about how they're supposed to act, and then trans men also have to unlearn and overcome the things that they're supposed to act almost like in opposite directions. And she was kind of speaking to that in a part of the interview, and like that was something that kind of stuck with me as like so just like the hurdles you experience as you get used to.
Hold on, my headphones just died. I think I'm gonna have to get here we go. You there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Sorry about that. I guess it's time for some new AirPods because these were fully charged, and they apparently.
That's the wrap it up signal.
Yeah, apparently the AirPods can only. Oh, but this is not good. These AirPods used to last a couple of hours. We're only 2.5 hours in, so that's not good.
Yeah. If I can speak on one more thing before I let you go. I was really interested earlier in the call from Susan, and when you were speaking about when you guys were speaking about the child sexual abuse situation online.
Right.
So I work in education, and part of what I have to do is to teach young children, like as young as 5 and 6, like what is child sexual abuse, like what is grooming. And it's just so obvious to me that when people use words like grooming, like I think we all know by this point it's a dog whistle, but like just as someone who like literally has to educate kids on this in order for sexual abuse prevention, it's so obvious to me that they don't know what grooming actually is. They just don't. Part of the education has to do with teaching kids about like coercion and about bribes. Part of it is teaching kids about it's okay, what is like a good touch and what's a bad touch, and like it's okay to change your mind. Like if someone's tickling you and it's fun at first and then you don't like it, you can tell them stop, right? Like you can change your mind, and like that's a big, like those little lessons are what equips children with the autonomy and the self-esteem to be able to recognize when something's wrong, and that's literally what prevents grooming. And all these people that talk about, they have no idea what it is. They really don't.
I mean, they've already demeaned the word and belittled the word to the point where it has no meaning anymore.
Yeah, and it's frustrating to me when like I literally have to I have to do that as part of my job, and I'm like, and also like also being a trans man, I don't pass very well. Like I get clocked a lot, as people say, and I've had more parents ask me about like what I'm teaching their kids about gender ideology than I have had parents ask me what I'm teaching about child sexual abuse prevention. So the narrative works sometimes, in like you were saying, normies don't always, they're not always tuned in. Enough of it seeps out into the general discourse that I would say that definitely some people have their concerns in the wrong places, in my opinion, of what they would be concerned about. I don't know. That's just me though. Does that make sense?
No, it does. Yeah.
Anyway.
This was a great call. Well, I'm sorry. I'm disappointed actually that you called just as my headphones are dying. So I would like to have spoken more and been able to not miss out on part of the conversation too, because they're going out. Definitely call back in, please, and we could have a more of a discussion too.
For sure. I really appreciate you taking my call, and I love the show. So thanks so much, Matt.
I appreciate it so much, and thank you for your kind words. It means a lot. Take care. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, I can't take any more calls because these headphones are just, I guess I need another pair of AirPods. I'm guessing the charge does not hold as long as they once did, which is disappointing because these lasted a long time. But great calls all night, honestly. Let's read some. That's it. And I think I finally got that eyelash. Nope, I still feel it. Where is it? Oh well. All right, let's go to the super chats. Oh wait, let me I gotta open up the Matthew Cox with a $5 super chat and a thumbs up emoji. Thank you so much, Matthew. Narrator with a $5 super chat. My understanding of X is Elon wants to make a privatized global bank. That's somewhat of what he's saying. The Everything app, financial services. Red J from New Jersey's already. Narrator with 2 back-to-back $5 super chats. I don't like learning about things that make me sad. OUR, the org from Sound of Freedom, increases human trafficking demand by going around just randomly asking for it. Foresto Mintero with a $5 super chat. Just wanted to note Elon said he was taking down the CP post for now, which implies he's not even sure whether CP should be taken down. I didn't notice that. Oh, he did say for now, didn't he? I didn't read it that way, but that is certainly a way to read it. Forrest with another super chat. Stephanie Sterling is a streamer you can talk to. I will definitely look into having Stephanie Sterling on. Dig on America with a super chat. You got a Twitch raid by Dutch Jason, just FYI. Oh, let me go to Twitch. Bum, ba, bum. Dutch Jason, thank you so much for the raid. No comment chick, thank you so much for the raid. And Sweaty Wife, thank you so much for the raid. 3 raids, nice, thank you so much. And we got Amused Mob resubscribed with Prime subscriber for 13 months. Hey Matt, my birthday was July 17th. Happy birthday. Went out with a friend, and when I left the coffee shop, I got in the car. The radio turned on, and the first voice I heard was yours on NPR. Great interview, and you deserve more mainstream media coverage because you're the best, broski. Thank you so much to Muse Mob. And yes, I was on Marketplace last week. Conversation about Twitter and Reddit's API issues. I had a good time on there. I'm glad that's awesome that you just caught it. That's really cool. Tokyo Hans resubscribed for 1 month at tier 1, subscriber for 13 months. Robot Monkey Cat subscribed for 1 month at tier 1, subscriber for 21 months. I'll be on the radio tomorrow discussing Greek mythology related films. If interested, I put show info on Blue Sky, Robot Cat, and Twitter, Robot Monkey Cat. Everyone go check it out. Let's see, over on Patreon, let me shout out Mary Harris, Mary H, Jeremy W, and Joe M. Thank you so much for becoming patrons. Once again, patreon.com/MattBinder, youtube.com/MattBinder, twitch.tv/MattBinder. Who should I rate on Twitch, by the way? Who should I rate? Who's on right now? Let's see. Actual Jake is on. Riverboat Jack. I'm going to raid Riverboat Jack. It's been a while. I'm going to raid Riverboat Jack right now. Let's do this. And hey, everyone, I will see you all on the Majority Port, on Leftist Mafia, and then for a stream early next week. And then I'll see you all the week after that. And you'll see me online. I'll still be on the usual places. You know me. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a great night. and see you all tomorrow.